thought the Ozarks were beautiful until the whistling started. It wasn't a bird. It wasn't the wind. It was a human melody, 3 sharp, high-pitched notes, followed by a low, dragging hum. I was 4 miles deep into the Buffalo National River Trail. To hours before sunset, I stopped dead in my tracks. The forest, which had been buzzing with cicadas just seconds ago, went deathly silent. That's the first thing no one warns you about when you hike deep into the woods alone. When the forest stops making noise, it's not resting. It's watching you. I swallowed hard and called out, "Hey, is anyone there?" My voice sounded thin, completely swallowed up by the towering oak trees. Silence. Then, that whistle echoed again. This time, it was closer, maybe 50 yards off to my left, concealed behind a thicket of mountain laurel. I gripped my hiking pole tighter. Out here in Arkansas, you prepare for black bears or cougars. But this wasn't an animal. It sounded deliberate. It sounded like a mockery. I turned around and started power walking back toward the trailhead, my heart hammering against my ribs. But every time my boot snapped a dry branch, the whistle immediately mimicked the sound a split second later. By the time the sun began dipping behind the ridge, shadows stretched across the dirt path like long, skeletal fingers. That's when panic really set in. I realized I had drifted off the main trail. In my hurry to escape the sound, I'd stumbled deep into the jagged limestone bluffs. I turned around to retrace my steps, and that's when I saw it. Standing on a rocky ledge about 100 feet above me was a tall silhouette. It was way too tall, its arms hanging unnaturally low past its knees. It didn't have a headlamp, no backpack, no gear. It just stood there in the dying light, tilting its head sideways at an impossible angle. And then it whistled again, a piercing cold frequency that vibrated right through my teeth. Adrenaline surged through me. I didn't think, I just ran. I scrambled over slick, mossy boulders and slid down muddy embankments with the sound of heavy, rhythmic thuds echoing right behind me. It wasn't running like a person runs. It sounded like something massive being dragged furiously through the dry leaves. The air turned foul, a sickening smell of wet mud and something metallic, like fresh blood. Desperate for cover, I spotted a narrow crevice in the limestone bluff, a tiny cave opening, and forced myself inside. I clicked off my headlamp, pure, suffocating darkness. I clutched my chest, trying desperately to quiet my frantic breathing. Right outside the crevice, dry leaves crunch, 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 pause. The whistling was right at the opening now. But it had changed tune. It was a faint, raspy version of Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. My blood froze. A long, ash-gray hand ending in jagged, yellowed nails slowly reached around the rock edge, reaching into the dark. It was searching. I pressed my back so hard against the frozen cave wall that my spine hurt, tears silently streaming down my face. Then, the whistling abruptly cut off. A rasping, wet whisper echoed right outside. Found you. I don't remember how I got out of that cave. I woke up at dawn, covered in dirt and scratches, collapsing 3 feet from the trailhead parking lot. My truck keys were tightly clutched in my hand, but my compass was gone. I haven't stepped foot near any forest since that day. But sometimes, when I'm sitting in my suburban backyard late at night, I hear 3 sharp notes coming from the tree line behind my fence. He didn't lose my trail. He just followed me home.